Hi, this is Gary. Welcome to today's video. So the month is rapidly running away from us. It's nearly the end of December. Can you believe it? 2020 is nearly gone. It's time now for me to look at the pens that I've been using this month and to discuss them quickly and to give them a rating of how I felt using them this month. So join me down on the mat and we'll go through these 7 pens that I started out this month with. So let's start by looking at the pens I started the month with. Well, the first one was a Jinhao 200. This had Robert Oster Caffe Crema. The Moonman S5 with PenBBS No. 160 Menthe Aquatica. A PenBBS 308 with Robert Oster Blue Water Ice. The Wingsun 601 with Pilot Iroshizuku Yama Budo. A TWSBI Vac700R, that was the Iris version, with Dieman Twilight Mist. The Jinhao X750 with PenBBS No. 346 Misty Clouds. And partway through the month I ran out of that ink, so I switched to Pilot Iroshizuku Ina-Ho. And finally the Moonman M800, this was the green version, and that had Colorverse Able ink. And again I ran out partway through the month, so that was replaced with Pilot Iroshizuku Shin-Ryoku. So they were my 7 pens that I used during this month. So now let's rank them. Now remember, I loved all these pens, so this ranking is just ranking in between these pens. I'm not saying any of them are no good because I really enjoyed writing with each and every one of them. At position number 7 is the Moonman M800, which is surprising because, as you may know, I love the Moonman M800s. The issue I've got with this is actually with the nib. What I was finding, if I left it for more than a few minutes at a time, this bottom part of the nib would run out of ink and it wouldn't start writing again. So I passed a shim through it a few times, and I've also sanded off the tip a bit and then smoothed it with some really fine micro mesh. It does write a lot better. I still get a hard start every time I use it, but at least it's just a very short hard start, whereas before I was having to write 2 or 3 sentences before the ink would actually start flowing. And that's why this comes in at position number 7. So that comes in at number 7. Helps if I move it up so the camera can see it. So the pen that comes in at number 6 is the PenBBS 308. Again, beautiful looking pen. As I said in my review coming up later this month, I don't like the fact that I can actually see the converter through this material, but that's what it is. You know, I think this pen was $27, so it's not an expensive pen. Issue I've had with this, why I've had to mark it down to number 6, is I get a lot of skipping when I'm writing with it. I have done some smoothing, but I think I just need to do a little bit more work on that nib, which I'll be doing over the next couple of months. So coming in at position number 6 is the PenBBS 308 with that Robert Oster Blue Water Ice. At position number 5 is the Jinhao 200. This pen looks really nice, really like the looks of it. It writes nicely, as you can see here. You know, it's not too bad. It's nice and wet. What I don't like about this pen is its size. It's really small in my hand. So to use this, I have to use it posted, which is fine, but my personal preference, I don't like using pens that are posted. So what I've had to do, because purely of the size, that's the reason it's been marked down. So this comes in this month at position number 5. Position number 4. Well, this month it goes to the Moonman S5 with that broad nib and the PenBBS 160 ink. Lovely pen, like the pen. I love the fact you can change the nibs on this. It comes with a fine, a medium and a broad nib. This month I've gone with the broad nib. Again, one of my issues with this pen is I get an occasional skip when I'm writing with it. So it means that I'm having to go back or leave them spaces, and my writing, it just looks even more scruffy than normal. So that's the reason this one has come in this time at position number 4. So the top 3 pens for December 2020. Position number 3, I'm going to give to this one. This is the Wing-Sung 601. So with this one, it comes with a hooded nib. I don't know if you can see that very well on the camera. You know, you don't get to see the whole nib. It's got a really funny filling system here. You can hardly see it, but there's a line here and this twists to reveal a pump which you use to fill it with. But that's really hard to see, which, yes, when you're using it day to day, you don't want people to see it, but when I first got it, it was a bit confusing. There is a little ink window here so you can see how the ink's going. It was really hard to pick the top 3 because I really enjoyed them all. So why this one came in at position number 3? Well, it's the nib. It's just a bit too fine for me. I've found myself more preferring the medium to the broad nibs, whereas this one, I'm saying it's fine. I think it may actually be extra fine. Writes beautifully. I really like it. As I say, it's just splitting up between the 3. It was the nib. So this one comes in position number 3 for December 2020. At position number 2, we have the Jinhao X750. As I said, we started the month with PenBBS number 346, Misty Clouds, and I finished with Pilot Iroshizuku Ina-Ho. I like this pen. It's really nice. The cap, it pulls off, and not that I'm using this to say that it's a bad pen. Most of my other pens you twist off, so I don't know if you noticed then when I was going to take it off, I keep getting confused and trying to twist it off. So it's a medium nib, writes really nicely. If I just move the ink sample up a bit so you can see that, you know, we've got really nice line. It's a really wet pen. The ink flows really nicely, but I'd had to give it a ranking, and compared to what comes in at number 1, I'm afraid this was my number 2 pen. So position number 2 goes to that Jinhao X750. So that means pen number 1 for December 2020 goes to this, the TWSBI Vac700R in the Iris. This one, it comes with a broad nib. Just look at the pen, it's just so pretty to look at. You know, I've heard this described as being a flame effect. I'm not sure if I would say it's a flame, but the pattern, it looks really nice. And it opens itself up to be used with a lot of different inks. I chose for this month to use a purple ink in here, and I'm really glad I did. You know, as you can see here on my little writing sample, the ink's gorgeous coming out of here. You know, it's wet, you're not getting any issues with it, it flows really nice. The one criticism I have of this pen, and it's actually not of the pen, it's of Gary. The first time I used it, I forgot it's a vacuum filler. So I didn't open up the end cap here. What that meant is I was writing away with it and then the ink would just suddenly disappear. And it wasn't until it clicked that I've got to open this cap to let the ink through. So that first day I was using it, I was really scratching my head thinking, why is this writing so badly? Undo the cap and it writes absolutely gorgeously. So position number 1 is that TWSBI Vac700R Iris. So I'm just going to clear this off and then we'll fetch in each of the pens in order. So here we are, my pens for this month. At position number 7, the Moonman M800. Number 6, PenBBS 308. Number 5, the Jinhao 200. Number 4, the Moonman S5 with the broad nib in. At number 3, that Wing-Sung 601. Position number 2, the Jinhao X750, and at this month's number 1 pen, the TWSBI Vac700R Iris. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please give me a thumbs up, give it a like. What pens and inks have you been using this month? How have you found them? Why don't you drop a comment down below? Let's discuss our pens and inks, let's discuss those combinations and share our knowledge and grow our experience in these together. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.